G'day, and welcome to WorldFlight 2025. This briefing video will cover the essential information you'll need flying in Australia for the departure on the 1st of November and the arrival on the 8th. WorldFlight has grown substantially since its formation in 2001, and now presents a worthy challenge for virtual pilots and controllers as one of the busiest events on VATSIM. Each year, we start and end in Sydney, and the event has raised over $500,000 for the Australian Royal Flying Doctor Service. Please carefully consider the following briefing material to prepare for your flight. If you're new to VATSIM or an inexperienced virtual pilot, we recommend flying during the quieter sections of the event.
For WorldFlight 2025, the departure route is from Sydney to Auckland, and the arrival will feature Darwin, Cairns, Brisbane, and Sydney. We recommend pilots use the VATPack pilot tools to aid their flight planning, find charts, weather data, and more. All pilots may also familiarise themselves with aerodrome procedures in the VATPack pilot SOPs, though this video contains all event-specific and Australian procedures you'll encounter. On screen is the standard ATS routing for each leg. All pilots must file and use these standard routes. Due to the popularity of this event, expect significant ground and airborne delays, and ensure you load extra fuel. As a rule of thumb, an additional 150 minutes of contingency fuel should suffice. In Australia, the transition altitude is 10,000 feet, and the transition level is flight level 110.
Slot bookings are required for the WorldFlight departure leg from Sydney to Auckland. Pilots must secure a slot through the VATSIM booking page to operate as an authorised event aircraft. Only authorised event aircraft may depart Sydney for Auckland between 21 Zulu and 0 Zulu. Non-authorised aircraft may either wait until after 0 Zulu for clearance or operate to Ohakia instead. Air traffic services will not be guaranteed for departures before 21 Zulu or after 0 Zulu.
Pre-departure clearances, PDCs, will be issued to all departing aircraft. You will receive a PDC through your pilot client. Usage of Hoppy CPDLC is unavailable in VATPack airspace. In Australia, all PDCs must be read back to the delivery controller on the frequency. You should first initiate contact with the controller, then read back your assigned SID, squawk and bay number once the controller acknowledges your call sign.
Sydney delivery, Qantas 218, g'day.
Qantas 218, delivery, g'day.
Qantas 218, Kevin 7 departure, Yvonne transition, squawk 3714, Bay International 64.
Qantas 218, thanks. When ready for pushback, contact coordinator 127.6.
At Sydney, once you're ready for pushback, you must contact Sydney Coordinator. Coordinator is responsible for sequencing departures and reducing ground frequency congestion.
Sydney coordinator, Qantas 218, g'day, International 64, request pushback.
Qantas 218, Sydney coordinator, g'day, standby, estimated delay 20 minutes.
Coordinator will likely delay your pushback. Expect to wait over an hour during the peak of the event. If possible, avoid repeatedly calling for an update on your queue position or estimated wait time, as this can clog the frequency and divert the controller's attention, potentially increasing delays. Ensure you're constantly listening to the frequency for your call sign. If you do need to step away, this must be approved by the controller.
Qantas 218, standby for ground on 121.7.
Standby for ground 121.7, Qantas 218.
Once you are sent to ground, do not call the controller. Monitor their frequency, and they'll contact you at your assigned pushback time. Coordinator will not approve your pushback. You must wait for Sydney ground to say pushback approved. If you require engine start but not pushback, you will also be required to contact Coordinator if the ATIS indicates that start approval is required.
There are multiple ground frequencies at Sydney and Brisbane. Refer to your charts if you are unsure which frequency to contact. Once you have completed your pushback, you should always notify receipt of the current ATIS information when requesting taxi.
Domestic aircraft will not be prompted to contact the tower and should instead switch frequencies themselves once at or coming to the holding point. You should report ready for departure on first contact with the tower controller.
Sydney Tower, Qantas 218, holding point Bravo 10, ready.
Qantas 218, Tower, g'day.
On your departure, do not breach your initial level. These are the standard initial levels you can expect for each aerodrome, but you should use the level assigned by the controller in your PDC. Once airborne, call the departure controller as soon as possible and report your level passing and cleared level.
Departures Qantas 218 passing 2,800, climbing 5,000.
Qantas 218, Sydney departures, identified, climb via SID, flight level 280.
Once you have been identified by the departures controller, you are no longer required to report your level passing to subsequent ATC facilities. On first contact with centre or approach, only report your cleared level.
Due to the high levels of traffic during this departure, aircraft can expect delays for sequencing through speed control.
Qantas 741 reduced to mark decimal 75.
Vectors.
Jetstar 382 for sequencing, turn left heading 340.
And holding patterns.
Number 6418, hold at Smoker, flight level 120.
Speedbird 11, hold at Locker, 9,000 feet, inbound track 175 degrees, left-hand pattern, outbound time 1 minute.
If the controller advises star clearance available, or you are told to expect star clearance in a handoff, you should be prepared to receive and read back a star clearance.
Lufthansa 3 Uniform X-ray, cleared Cody 1 Alpha arrival, Locker transition, runway 15. When ready, descend to flight level 250.
You will likely receive a "when ready" descent instruction. This does not mean that you should descend immediately. You must wait until your calculated top of descent. As a courtesy to the controller, it's best practice to report leaving your cruise altitude once you begin descending. However, if the frequency is very congested, this may be omitted.
On first contact with approach, advise of the current ATIS information. You'll be assigned a runway and an approach expectation, as well as potentially a descent instruction. You are not required to read back the approach expectation. To facilitate the amount of arrivals inbound to Darwin, LAHSO or land and hold short operations may be used. This is when the aerodrome utilises 2 crossing runways simultaneously. Aircraft will be cleared to land on one runway and be required to hold short of a secondary crossing runway. For Darwin, this means aircraft landing on runway 29 may be instructed to hold short of runway 36, and an aircraft landing on runway 36 may be instructed to hold short of runway 29.
Qantas 1289er, traffic is a Jetstar A320 landing on the crossing runway. Hold short, runway 36, runway 29er, cleared to land.
Jetstar 248, traffic is a Qantas 737 landing on the crossing runway. Will hold short, runway 36, cleared for takeoff.
During LAHSO, the landing distance available will be 2,642 metres, or 8,668 feet for runway 29, and 1,096 metres, or 3,596 feet for runway 36. All aircraft will be assumed to be LAHSO capable. If you are not, you must advise the approach controller on first contact by using the phraseology
Darwin approach, good morning, American 461, descending to 10,000 feet, receipt of information November, passive LAHSO.
Arriving at Sydney and Brisbane, you may encounter a procedure known as Independent Visual Approaches, or IVAs. This is a type of visual approach that allows multiple aircraft on adjacent finals for the parallel runways without prescribed separation minima. You cannot be cleared for an IVA unless you have the runway in sight or a visual well established on the localizer. Visual means you can see the ground or water. Runway in sight means you can see your assigned runway. You should report the runway in sight as soon as possible. Then you'll be given a heading to join final by Sydney Director and should visually fly the approach.
Runway 34 right in sight, speedbird 8023.
Speedbird 8023, turn right heading 310, join final runway 34 right. From that heading, cleared independent visual approach.
Right heading 310, from that heading cleared IVA 34 right, speedbird 8023.
It's extremely important that you do not pass through the runway centerline. Even if you haven't received a vector to join final or a clearance for the approach and are still flying perpendicular to the centerline, you should initiate a turn to final yourself. Passing through the centerline will cause a conflict with any traffic joining the parallel runway. If you're told to expect ILS approach then independent visual approach when visual, it's likely that the cloud is low enough that you won't have the runway in sight for your base leg, and will therefore be instructed to track via an instrument approach until you are below cloud and become visual. From that point, you'll be re-cleared the IVA and may proceed visually.
New Zealand 1984, turn left heading 360, intercept the localizer. Cleared ILS approach runway 34 left, not below 3,000 until established on the glide path.
Left heading 360 to intercept the localizer. Maintain 3000 until fully established. Cleared the ILS, runway 34 left. New Zealand 1984. New Zealand 1984, visual.
New Zealand 1984, recleared independent visual approach.
We recleared the independent visual approach, tree follow left, New Zealand 1984.
That concludes this pilot briefing video. An accompanying briefing document with additional information, including SID expectations, will be linked below. Thank you for your attention, and we wish you a safe flight.